What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Guapish Rule 34. As always, I'm your host, Nico, and today I'm being joined by quite the little delinquents here. Degenerates, in fact. First up, we've got our boy Tanner here. He's been, you've been up to some naughty things, haven't you, mister?
That's right, I've been arrested 12 times for public masturbation.
And next up on our list, we of course also do have our public exhibitionist himself, Dillyn.
Guys, I was wrongfully framed. I don't belong here.
And last up on parole right now is, of course, Jackson.
I break the law multiple times every day. They can't stop me.
IRS, please do not check his tax records. We're begging you.
I don't know what an exhibitionist is.
It's like one of those people in trench coats that shows off their dangling in public.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't do that.
Well, exhibitionist can be also just be like some chick walking around without panties on or something with a skirt or some shit. There's different levels to it.
Yeah.
It's just somebody that's like some level of naked in public.
Just sounds like some form of public.
Or like
get off
plowing a whammon in a park, you know? Yeah.
Okay.
Tanner, you
Have you
participate
guys-
in exhibitionism.
Well, no, because people didn't see us.
Well, it doesn't have to be like seen. It's
That's
just
like if a tree falls in the forest, you can't hear it.
I think a lot of it's about the racy part of it being the potential that you could be seen.
Well, I think exhibitionism specifically, like, the goal is to be seen doing it. It's not just being in public.
I always thought of it as it's literally entirely just about like the idea that you could be seen, not that you're actually wanting to be seen.
Yeah. Well, you may want to be seen. It's kind of the thrill of like you could be seen, and from like my perspective.
Listen, guys, I would Google
this.
this, but I don't want this in my Google search history. That'd be fucking weird.
I just feel like I remember this from that abnormal psychology class.
Yeah. Well, they're like, you know, there are different levels to it generally.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Sure.
My gosh,
Because it's reiterating everything I'm saying.
Have you guys done your taxes yet?
I thought you were about to ask
no.
if you guys participate in exhibitionism yet.
No.
The answer to both those questions is yes.
Wow.
How much did you owe and or get back from der government?
I think like $800.
You owed or you had?
Got back?
Yeah.
Ah, good.
Okay, that's good.
Jesus.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, Jackson
What about
owed like
you, Jackson? You done your
15,000.
tax? What?
I owe thousands.
Oh no! How did that
Tax
happen,
extortion.
Jackson?
Because I was a contractor, and you don't pay taxes on your contracting income.
You actually owe thousands.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I made thousands for my contracting position, and that just like it was $80 an hour. If I worked an hour, they just give me that $80. They won't take tax out of it, so I gotta go and do that all myself.
Gotcha.
I will say that's not always the case for the contracting job I did this year. They did take my taxes out.
That most certainly makes it
convenient.
easier, because then you don't have to worry about saving money for taxes at the end of it, or beginning of the next year or whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan? You done your taxes?
What?
I'm a hardcore procrastinator.
Nice.
And
I think
contracting
you have-
sucks.
What, he has like 2 more weeks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that. I got $100 back, which was very disappointing because I need more than that. but
Sag. Sorry to hear it, pal.
anyways,
Yes.
I guess that was, you know.
Oh, I thought you had something else you were going to go into there.
Yeah, you sounded like you had a segue going there.
I didn't.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
You guys remember last week when we ranked the constitutional amendments and we put the income tax at the bottom?
Yeah. As it should
Pretty
be.
cool.
I definitely didn't go over that at all, so that's my bad.
Come
Right next to
on,
women's
Dylan.
suffrage.
Listen, man, I don't know them anyway, so it's not like it would have mattered.
Well, listen, if you just listen to the podcast, you hear us explain all of them as we go.
I know. I gotta get around to doing it. I haven't gotten to it this time. Just give me like a day. I'll have it down and out.
Down in it.
Yeah. Which of us do you guys think would be like most likely to become a sovereign citizen?
Me.
Tanner, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what a sovereign citizen is.
No contest.
I feel like Dylan has a decent chance as well, though.
I don't know what it is.
If he
a
just gets
sovereign-
involved in the wrong Facebook group, he'd be down that hole in no time.
Hold on, now since you
A sovereign citizen is like, there are these people that believe there's this weird loophole in like tax law where if they declare themselves as a business from another country, then they don't have to pay taxes.
Oh, interesting.
Which isn't true.
Huh.
I was more so talking about like the sovereign citizen lifestyle, not just in terms of taxes.
That is all it is.
No, there's significantly more to it than that. What are you talking about?
No, that's the whole thing. They just think they can get out of paying taxes by doing this weird loophole that's never actually worked.
Tanner, have you not seen like the videos of like sovereign citizens going out and doing shit?
I have, but that's like that's their deal. That's like what separates them from other people. That's the distinguishing thing about them.
They're not just doing all this for taxes, dude.
This is a cutthroat episode so far, boys.
It definitely says here that they just try to avoid taxes. And they
There's
don't
definitely
believe in
significantly
taxes.
more to it than that.
I
Dylan,
mean,
have you ever
besides
seen
tax evasion.
Tanner, have you ever seen any of them get like pulled over for a traffic stop and shit?
Yes, I have.
Shit's crazy, dude. You think all that's just for taxes?
I'm saying that the defining characteristic of a sovereign citizen individual is that tax thing. Yes, there are other behaviors that they exhibit, but they aren't defining characteristics.
What does getting pulled over have to do for anything?
We'll send you videos later, Dylan, don't you worry.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. I will be educated soon enough.
Fantastic, dude. Sounds good. So, Jackson,
Alright.
you've recently gotten into this big fruit bar controversy. What's been going on with that?
Oh, this is the dumbest topic of all time.
Oh.
I just put it down because I never put down topics. So yeah, we went to Costco, and I like every time we go to Costco, I like to pick out a bunch of like random snacks that I'll try out for that week. So I just picked a bunch of like random fruit-based snacks. So I got like a big fucking box of fruit snacks. I got like these little fruit bars that are only 2 flavors or something, like only 2 ingredients, and I just got some other like generic ones. That's literally the topic. The ones that have only 2 ingredients are only 2 ingredients. In fact, though, it's like apple and banana or something. They're not that bad for what they are. I think they're pretty expensive though. And then the other ones,
they would be.
And then the other ones were like really fucking skinny. Like think of Fruit Leathers, except just compacted into like a tiny little stick. They're all right. They don't do anything for you though. But yeah, that's basically the topic. How exciting!
How exciting.
That's crazy. You know what I'm eating a lot right now?
What's that, dude?
So I've switched over to just only doing cardio to try and get rid of my gut. And so what I've been doing is I'll just go to the gym and I'll either use the bike or the rowing machine for like a half hour, and then I'll walk across the street to the H-E-B and get myself a big loaf of French bread and eat it.
Why do you
That's
get the
crazy,
French
man.
bread? Why do you
crazy.
get the French bread?
Because French bread tastes good. And like, you know,
Okay.
a piece of French bread has it's like 1,300 calories in it. So if I just only eat that each day, then I know I'm not eating too much.
Well, I guess so, but 1,300 calories of carbs is literally all it is. There might be some fat in there, but, you know.
No, there's not.
I doubt...
It's bread.
Yeah, but I doubt there's only carbs in bread. I'm sure there's some fat.
I mean, I can check it right now. I have the
fucking nutrition facts right next to you.
yeah, let's see.
You didn't even eat the whole thing.
I get like one of these each day and eat the whole thing. Let's see. It has 5 grams of protein.
Okay, that's something I wouldn't have imagined.
Okay, it does say 1 gram of fat.
Not as much as I thought
I
there would have been, but, you know.
It's wheat.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Well, I didn't know it was wheat. Whatever, man.
He didn't know it was wheat, Tanner.
He doesn't know what French bread's made out of.
I don't know how to interpret that information.
When you said wheat, my brain automatically transposed it to, like, there's white bread, there's wheat bread, there's rye bread, so I figured you got, like, wheat French bread. That's where my brain went.
Dillyn, what do you think that white bread is made out of?
It's also made out of wheat, but my brain...
Right.
My brain... Listen, man, there's wheat bread. I don't know why they would differentiate it, alright? Leave me alone. My brain...
If you ask a European, though, it's nothing but sugar, bro. So, like...
My brain, like, I have two thought processes that happen. There's one thought process that thinks something immediately, and then I say it, while the other thought process is like, don't fucking say that, that's dumb as hell, but by the time I think that, it's already out. So, we're kind of here now.
We really are here right now.
We sure are. Anyway, what's the next topic, so we don't have to...
What's your guys' favorite kind of bread?
Ooh.
What's a kind of bread you really like?
Sourdough!
I
fucking love sourdough.
Like the most like unobtrusive bread possible. One that has zero flavor and is like, just does not get in the way of the general ingredients.
Nico's lame as hell.
When I make a sandwich of any kind, I like to use potato bread. I think potato bread is pretty good.
Okay,
Potato bread's
like a
pretty good.
hearty potato bread.
I do if I want a bread with good flavor. I do like sourdough, but I'll typically choose like marble rye over anything else. Marble rye is very good.
I'm not a big fan of marble rye. Here's a controversial opinion for me. The overwhelming majority of garlic bread out there is bad.
That's a very controversial opinion.
Well, have you had Texas toast though? Are you including Texas toast in that statement?
Texas toast isn't garlic bread.
Do you not get the garlic bread Texas toast? There is garlic bread Texas
Dillyn,
toast.
There is, but it's not garlic bread.
What do you
I live in Texas for one, so yes, I have Texas toast on occasion.
I don't. Okay.
Do you know what Texas toast is, Dillyn?
No, I just associated with
Texas
a brand.
toast. No, Texas toast is literally just an extra thick sliced bread.
Oh, yeah. No, there's like this frozen boxed bread my mom would always buy, and she'd always get the garlic bread, and it was just Texas toast. I figured that was just like the brand or something.
Nah, Texas toast. It like literally Texas toast just means it's like sliced bread, but it's like double thick.
Well, that's unfortunate. I have a lot of. Hold on, I can't type and think apparently at the same time.
Tanner, do you believe that being in Texas automatically makes you an authority of all things Texas?
No, but I think I've lived here long enough that I'm at least a good enough authority to inform people who don't live here.
Interesting. Jackson, as an Oregonian citizen, could you please inform Tanner about the Oregon Trail?
No. You learned that in school, I don't need to.
Yeah, I don't remember too much from the Oregon Trail.
I'm from Oregon too, I still know that stuff.
Yeah, come on, Nico, you don't gotta be like this. Why you do this, man?
It's not like leaving Oregon made that information will leave my brain.
I mainly just want to hear Jackson try and describe the Oregon Trail to us.
I don't want to describe the Oregon Trail.
Please describe the Oregon Trail, Jackson. Give us the best guesstimate explanation of what the Oregon Trail is that you can.
Guapish at the movie!
What a segue.
Nico, what did we watch this week?
This week we actually watched 3 movies thanks to our Patreon supporter, Mistake. What's his real name?
Jacob Edwards.
Jacob Edwards.
We're saying his name again.
Thank
you, Jacob Edwards.
This part of the thing.
Yeah, you're a big first Patreon supporter, and we thank you very much for it. However, I think we should move into the first movie, because Jacob Edwards, I think this is a fantastic movie for you to pick first, because I think that this just like really, it's good for us to get this out of the way as soon as possible. We
gotta get some ground rules going on with these movie requests.
We want to dispel any rumors that like you paying us will like make us view your film as like any higher than it should be. This movie was bad, right, Tanner? This was not a very good movie.
I'm liking where we're starting already here.
You like the movie, Tanner?
So.
I'm curious to see why you guys didn't like it.
Oh my gosh,
So
there's no
Jacob
way.
Edwards selected Maniac for us, guys. Maniac. This is actually a remake, fun fact, of a 1980s film by the same name.
Crazy.
They share very little in common. This one, for example, the one that we watched, the newer one, it's actually like a first-person horror movie. That's crazy. That's not really done, right?
It's a little unique. It's a little ooh.
Yeah, I'd say that's like the only real positive about the film. So, Maniac, guys. Tanner, since you apparently had an entirely different experience from us, why don't you share a little bit about it for us?
Well, Maniac. It's a first-person horror movie about a crazy guy.
A maniac.
He's a bit of a maniac. He likes killing women and then dressing up mannequins like them. And he's constantly having psychotic breaks throughout the movie. Very gory movie. This is, in my opinion, the first, like, really legit horror movie we've watched. Like, the other horror movies we've seen seem so soft compared to this one.
House of Wax!
No,
I mean,
you don't know. House of Wax is definitely up there.
I don't think House of Wax comes close to this
It
movie.
was still a horror
sure.
movie, though, dude.
In
Come
terms
on.
of, I know, yeah, I do. I just mean in terms of, like, violence and gore.
Okay. Maybe I just can't handle it as well as you can.
Oh, here's a funny thing I wrote down. This is the incel movie people thought Joker was going to
That's
be.
exactly what Jackson said.
Yeah, I was literally like, all right, so I see what people are talking about with the violence for the sake of violence thing people are talking about with Joker, except it's this movie. Mm-hmm. You just see some guy going around killing and scalping all these women.
Yeah. Let me see. That scene where he threw up, I thought that was funny because that was clearly just like some normal ass oatmeal.
Yeah.
They didn't even like really do much to make it look like vomit or whatever.
You know, Tanner, the fact they didn't do much to make it look like vomit really encapsulates the whole movie as a whole. They didn't really do much to make this a real movie. So you see, the first-person perspective, while it is interesting, I feel like it really is an overall detriment to the narrative, you know? Because while we were watching this film, it was maybe like a third of the way into it. I asked Jackson, it's like, is this going to be the whole movie? Like, where's it going to go from here? I really don't understand where the plot is trying to go at all. And it went nowhere, basically. He just kind of kills people, and then he kills one last lady, and the film sort of just ends. There's really no real narrative for it at all. It just kind of goes on for a bit, and
it is a horror movie.
Yeah, but there's like an overarching plot line in the other horror movie we watch, House of Wax.
what kind of an excuse is that, Tanner?
Yeah, this movie didn't really have a resolve at the end of it all.
I don't
That's like the
really
same thing as
think-
just watching a bunch of fucking ISIS beheading videos back, like, spliced together.
Yeah.
Is that a movie if you have it be like an hour long?
I mean, there wasn't... How do I want to phrase this? I feel like there was a story, but there wasn't a narrative, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes
Like,
sense.
the story is, this is some fucked up guy who watched his mom getting railed on the regular, and for whatever reason that made him want to kill people. And then, you know, he's crazy. And then he goes around killing people, and then he meets someone, he's like, oh, maybe I don't have to be crazy. But because he was already crazy in the past, she says you're crazy, and then he kills her. I just don't think that narrative is really the point of watching this movie. Like, that's not what it's really setting out to
What is the point,
do.
then, Tanner? What is it trying
Just to
do?
see him kill people.
I don't enjoy that.
To watch blood and gore.
And that's not a very compelling plot line.
No.
At least not to us three, I guess.
my only...
I just feel like that's the point of horror movies typically, to see really brutal killings. To see, like, a lot of violence and gore and stuff. That's like the genres. That's like the reason the genre exists.
I mean, I
Well, I
guess...
disagree, Tanner. It's about a bit more than that. Generally, it's about, like, watching these people overcome these insurmountable odds that are these sorts of, like, cosmic horrors or, like, sort of, like, murderous psychos, you know? That's generally what happens. Typically, at the end of horror movies, the bad guy, like, usually someone ends out alive, dude. But potentially... the person even dies at the end, dude. So, like, come on.
I would even argue that horror is mostly like a complementary genre and not something that's used by itself. Like, most of the time when I think of horror, I'm thinking of like a thriller movie or, you know, like a really like suspenseful movie rather than just like specifically something that's just for like violence.
Yeah.
Which I think that movie was pretty suspenseful in a lot of things, but
I don't even think it generally was, because it didn't really give us a reason to, like, care at all, I guess. Like, at no point was there really, like, like some of the other movies that
Nico
we watched.
does not care if women are being brutally murdered in the streets.
Unfortunately, it just didn't give me a reason to care about them.
I will say, one critique I do have is, shut the fuck up, okay? I think this guy is too crazy. Like, the idea that he has been operating for seemingly a long time is very unrealistic. Like, he would have gotten noticed somehow by this
I was definitely
point.
about to say, like, I ended up putting in here at one point, how has this guy not been caught? And when, and I was like, in that same vein, I was like, when is he going to get caught? Because there's no way he's going to go this whole movie without being caught. Which, of course, at the end, he just dies before he gets caught.
Was he dead?
Yeah, he died at the end.
I think there was implication he dies, yeah.
At least that's what I'm assuming. That was the other thing, though, is, like, in terms of, like, resolve for, like, these kinds of movies, like, what the fuck did the ending have to do with anything? It was just, like, all of, like, the mannequins and, like, his memories of these people fucking killing him and ripping his guts out and tearing him apart. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with his scarred childhood past. Like, there's nothing connecting the lines as to why he's killing these people and, like, why he's crazy.
That's kind of why I didn't think he was dead at the end. To me, that it just seemed like he was having a really big psychotic break, and it left him kind of comatose, and then the police discovered him.
I definitely think the implication was that he was bleeding out, and that I
thought that was all the girl's blood.
No. Well, she fucking stabbed him with a mannequin hand, underneath, like, in his chest cavity. So, like, like, at the end, when he opened up the van to grab her, because he, like, fucking found her, when he opened up the van, she popped out and fucking stabbed him. So I think the implication was he died in, like, that crazy-ass dream thing or whatever the fuck, getting torn apart by all those women, that the implication that he was dying in his own crazed reality.
Okay.
But, like,
I can kind of see
what
that.
the hell did that ending have to do with anything? Like, it had nothing, like, what, the women he killed ended up killing him in the end or whatever? And, like, I don't know, it just, I can't explain it because I didn't understand it. But, I mean, and throughout this whole thing, too, one of the notes here I have is internet date murdering is really easy.
It sure is.
But, and then on top of that, one of the other notes I had was he's a psychopathic murderer while he's on the meds. Like, it's not even while he's off the meds. He just fucking kills people while on medication. Which, they don't really ever explain what the medication does. As far as we know, it just fucking, calms down a migraine? Or what we're supposed to believe is a migraine? Like, what the fuck does that matter? But, also, the pill worked way faster than whatever the hell that other thing he got from that convenience store was. I think it was like a nasal inhalation or whatever.
The anti-migraine nasal spray.
Yeah. And then can we just talk about for a minute how bad the women are at running away in this movie? Like,
they're all wearing heels, Dylan. What are they supposed to do?
He literally was crippled. I think it was like one of the last two. He was literally crippled. He couldn't run very well. And literally, like, he even had, like, the stab in the... I think it was the last girl. He had been stabbed, and she was relatively fine, and she still couldn't get away from him. Like, what the fuck?
Women are bad at running.
Listen, man.
I knew you were going to say that, too. I said that during the movie, like, Tanner's going to defend this with men are just, like, more athletic or whatever the fuck.
No, I don't even think it's that. I think it's literally just women are bad at running. They're not good at it.
And
gotcha. You took the
poorly.
women bad instead of men good approach, like I thought you would.
And the other thing I want to kind of acknowledge here is, like, at some point, I think after, like, I don't know, he was dating, like, the red-haired woman or whatever, he's like, oh, I just want to be a good guy. Why can't you let me be a good guy? And then they never touch on that. And then I have, like, at the end, I was like, what happened to being a good guy? Like, what the fuck did that have to do with anything?
I think that was, like, his trouble with his mom, because, like, his mom would tell him to be, a good boy and, like, stop watching or like, go and do something else. So he, like, got the good thing. Because a lot of these women he was killing, he was, like, trying to find his mom, basically. Like, his dead mom was in these women.
Yeah. But I literally, one of my last points on my notes here is this movie caused me physical pain.
Yeah, Dillyn did shut down for, like, a solid 30 seconds or so at one point from one of the jump scares.
Fucking mannequins, dude.
Funny. I like the part where he's, like, looking at himself in the mirror and then his bottom half is a mannequin. That was funny.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
He's having trouble
also,
differentiating himself from the mannequins.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why mannequins?
Crazy. I don't know. His family owned a mannequin shop, I guess. I will say, kind of connecting to that, I like how the only moments where we do have the camera go third person are when he's, like, in the act of murdering someone, which
not always.
Like that's a kind of neat way of showing that he's, like, dissociating from himself.
Yeah, it's like an out-of-body
once?
experience for him.
Exactly.
I thought they only did that once.
No, they did a few times.
They did it.
Film.
Yeah.
I remember pretty much every murder being in first person, so there was, like, that one. But anyway, yeah. I don't know.
Also, it's set in Los Angeles. That wasn't Los Angeles for most of that.
It was set in Los Angeles? I did not assume that at all.
I also...
It was, they had the Los Angeles Times the guy was reading.
Whoa.
On the subway.
Huh?
The newspaper.
That's bonkers, bro.
She's like fucking with my shoes. What the hell?
She's like rubbing her face all over your shoes and like picking up your shoelaces.
Yeah, those are my gym shoes. That's kind of weird. Anyway.
For those of you at home, Dylan's daughter is currently rubbing her face all over his shoes right now. It's very adorable, but also very strange.
I don't have any kids that I'm aware of.
He's talking about the cat. Anyway, here's a weird thing. So that girl, the French girl, went to a movie alone with him.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, she mentioned she has a boyfriend. Like, let me posit this to you guys. You're in a relationship with a girl. You have a girlfriend. And she's like, hey, I'm going to go watch a movie with one of my guy friends.
Absolutely not.
Veto.
No.
I'm controlling.
Right.
I say
Zero
veto.
chance.
No.
Well...
No, well.
It's
what do you
chance.
mean, well?
Absolutely. I would love to hear you
how long
defend
they
this.
knew each other.
One
and stuff.
on
No,
one?
no.
To a
it does not
movie?
matter how long they've known each other. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
No.
You know, it depends.
Absolutely
I don't
not.
want to be too controlling.
No,
you know?
it not depends. Absolutely not.
I
I am
think that's
absolutely
a
against
very
this.
reasonable-
There is nothing you could say that will defend you from this point, Nico.
Yeah. If it is add even one more person and they're going to the movie, sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Not just them two. No.
Tanner,
Yeah,
what if
just
he's
them.
gay, though? Have you considered that? What if he's gay?
I don't
I
think
guess
that
they're
matters.
fine. But here, Nico, how about that? What if it's like dinner at, let's say, a slightly nice restaurant, not like something crazy and expensive, but something like it's not something you'd go out to very often.
I mean, I'd question why I'm not there then, you know? Like, I want to go get the food.
Uh-huh. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing I have to say, Jesus Christ, this was a disturbing movie.
Yeah, it was
Don't
a pretty
say.
rough
It's
watch.
So much of this made me just feel actively uncomfortable. All of the stalking scenes were like done well in terms of just being like, dude, I feel like I'm stalking them.
Yeah. This movie, literally, I think in like the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was like, this is so awkward. This is so hard to watch. And these bozos watching with me didn't feel what I was talking about. And then they saw the first scalping and they were with me. That movie was horrible to watch for me, like all the way through.
To
I
be
can't
fair-
believe there was another Achilles tendon slashing scene. That's like my worst fear, dude.
To be fair,
It's
Jackson,
just horrible to see.
I didn't see it initially because I was hoping the whole movie wouldn't have been in first person. That's why I didn't feel uncomfortable at first. So
Yeah.
That first kill was brutal, where he stops her from screaming by putting the knife straight up through her.
Also, I don't think that
That
would have
felt
killed
kind
her.
of uncharacteristic for the rest of the film, though.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
unless...
he does mostly strangle for the rest of the
Well,
movie.
what I was
Yeah.
gonna say though, I think what he's referring to is that he usually goes on dates or goes out with these people before he kills them. I think what the issue here is that he did go on a date with that lady. It was just off screen before the movie started.
I was just talking about the actual visuals of him, like, stabbing her that way. That felt... That feels very strange considering, like, all the rest of the ways he kills people afterward.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, one thing I was saying though too is like I definitely don't think stabbing somebody through here would kill them initially because it seemed like she died immediately. I don't know how big the knife was, so maybe it did.
It seemed like a big enough knife that was probably hitting the brain.
Okay, I just didn't see the knife then, so maybe I missed that part. So I don't know.
Yeah. To kind of explain that, Nico, I will say the knife kill, they're like in an apartment hallway, and most of the stranglings they're much more isolated, so noise isn't as big of a deal. So that maybe that's why he needed to kill her so much quicker.
Well, more so, like, it feels like a lot of the other kills are fairly like grounded, I guess. They feel like a normal thing that you'd kind of like see, I guess, if you were to like watch somebody murder someone. That first kill feels like it's a horror movie thing. Like you'd see Michael Myers kill someone that way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I was about to say there is that one lady
Yeah.
he fucking stabbed to death in the used car parking lot or whatever the hell it
Yeah.
was. So it was also that.
Like that feels more visceral and real, but like,
Yeah.
you know, a fucking
I see what you're saying. That's probably just, because it was in the first, 10 minutes of the movie.
It's the money shot. It's how you get them, the masses in the seats, Tanner.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, I feel like
what are your big criticisms of this film? What makes it a bad movie to you?
There really wasn't a point to it, I guess, is the big thing. At least when we were watching Straw Dogs, it didn't really execute what it was going for well, but at least sort of had something it was trying to say. Maniac it's not trying to say anything. It's just kind of, here's some disturbing imagery for you. Look at this crazy guy. That's about it.
I really couldn't figure anything about Straw Dogs out, so.
Nico,
This movie's worse than Straw Dogs. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now, Tanner.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh boy.
No, it isn't.
It 100% is.
It absolutely is not.
It kind of
is.
I think we should just get to the rankings at this point to really get it aired out.
I was gonna say actually I had some positive talk, but I haven't had any time to talk about this movie at all.
Sorry.
Honestly, I think the plot is the thing that brought this down most of it, and also just the first person thing. I don't really like first person movies. That really brought it down a decent chunk for me as well. But honestly, the cinematography was pretty fucking good. They had some really interesting shots. They did a lot of really creative things, which I enjoyed. I think the acting was pretty solid for most of it as well. I was pretty sold on the Maniac, if you will. I think the audio design was pretty solid too. The special effects were pretty good too for what they are. I was pretty impressed generally with the cinematography of the movie. It was mostly just the plot that I wasn't really vibing with, especially the ending. The ending was really unsatisfactory for me. It's probably some symbolism bullshit going on with him being ripped apart by all these other people or something. That just went over my head.
He was a mannequin underneath.
Yeah, he was a fake person or something. I don't know. There's definitely some symbolism going on that went over my head, but yeah, It was hard. It was so hard to watch the entire time.
Yeah, I agree. They don't draw a great connection between the trauma and mannequins being involved.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I guess let's hear the rankings.
All right, perfect.
Tanner, you go first.
I gave it an A.
Damn. Holy shit. I feel like I want to hear Jackson's next now.
Hold on, I'm looking at the website code right now.
Should we just go to you?
I'll just go ahead and go next then. An A is fucking baffling. I give this film an F+.
Dude, you're out of your fucking mind.
There are
Jackson,
very few redeeming qualities to it. I'm not saying it's downright unwatchable or anything, but
the F tiers are unwatchable.
F- is purely unwatchable.
Yeah.
F+ is there's still something there, but it's all around not very good.
Yeah.
I don't understand, what you're saying doesn't make sense. I get that you're not into horror movies, and so the whole thing of it being a gore spectacle that doesn't appeal to you.
I don't even think that's the case. I don't think you necessarily have to be into gore or horror to like this movie or not like this movie. Yeah, I
didn't rate House of Wax that low, dude.
Yeah, but House of Wax isn't as like this movie. The whole point of the movie existing is the violence and whatever.
That doesn't make it good.
Yeah, I think that his argument there would be the justification for the movie's existence is not, it's not stable enough to really stand on its own.
As I've said before,
it has the idea that's executing, but it's not a good idea.
Yeah, just because something is being done on purpose, that doesn't justify it at all.
If this movie was a documentary about a person, that would make more sense. But
I don't think you can compare the movie to what you think it ought to be, though.
Yeah, but what it currently is bad.
It's objectively not.
You can't keep using objectively like this, Tanner. We've been over this, dude.
Okay, how is it bad? You think the story is weak, and I'm saying story isn't what it was setting out to accomplish. Back to what I was just saying, Nico.
Yeah.
Your major complaint is that the story is weak.
I'm countering that by saying it's non-existent, basically.
Okay, and I'm countering that by pointing out that's not what they were trying to accomplish. But let's grant it, okay, it has a weak story. How does that drag it all the way down to F tier?
Because there's nothing else going for it.
What do you mean?
Well, what are the...
It's shot well, the acting is good, the gore is cool.
The acting isn't even all that good. Also, the gore isn't cool. It's disturbing and gross, dude.
That's the point.
So?
It's accomplishing what it's setting out to accomplish.
What it's trying to do isn't good, though.
We're currently criticizing Nico.
You're completely abandoning your whole shtick as being the objective one here. You're like purely judging from your fifis right now.
Jackson, you want to give us your ranking here real quick?
Yeah, I'll give my ranking real quick. I had actually initially said this was a D- movie, but honestly, as I was thinking about the movie more, you know, I definitely thought it was really hard to watch. Really, really hard to watch the entirety of it. I don't think the point of the story made any sense, and I don't like the conclusion at all. That brings it down quite a bit. But honestly, I think the cinematography was pretty solid most of the time. I'm actually gonna go from a D- to a D+ instead.
Damn.
Dillyn, what's your ranking for it?
Round us out, Dillyn. Dillyn says F+. He gave the same ranking as Nico.
Crazy.
I don't know if we were going to even be having this as part of the official audio here.
I'll be editing around this somehow.
Okay. Well, anyways, that averages Maniac out to a C- right there.
Okay.
It puts it on the same tier as Pumping Iron.
A true travesty, frankly. Alright, what one do we want to do next? I guess we should wait for people to get back in.
Yeah, Nico, you're just making a face right now, or are you frozen?
No, he's just making a face. I've seen his eyes move. Also, you can see the blur on the Majora's Max poster keeps moving a bit, which means he's moving.
Yeah, it's like the facial recognition is busted.
Fun fact, before I actually got lagged out there, I was also just like sitting there making a face when you guys thought that I was frozen. Then it actually did just kick me out, so...
How do we know that you weren't just frozen the entire time then, from our perspective?
Solid question, dude. I couldn't tell you.
What's happening with Dillyn?
I don't know. What is happening with Dillyn?
He's giving up.
Alright, what movie's next?
Alrighty, so boys, we just got finished up ranking Maniac. Next up here, why don't I talk about 9, I suppose? 9, the other more spooky film here that we're rating today.
Yeah.
9?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Taryn, this one was your choice, so what did you think of 9 overall, would you say?
I think 9 is pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's got a nice little story. I think really the strongest thing this movie has going for it is world building. They just craft a very interesting world. I don't know if the plot itself is super interesting.
It's definitely not strong suit. I will absolutely agree with the whole like world building part though. One of my favorite things is like the whole trope of like fucking like tiny people in like the sort of like human world, you know? So just like seeing like how they sort of like navigate it and shit like that, and the stuff that they build, like just their character design, seeing the like, oh, it's like fucking crafted from like this shit, and like fucking 8's like sword that he has, like, oh, it's like a nail and like a blade that he found somewhere. Like that's really fucking cool. Yeah. I love that kind of shit. It's always sweet to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I want to say. Like the whole thing of it being like, oh, this scientist like figured out how to use magic to then create AI, and then it took over the world. That's pretty neat. One thing I'm confused about is like. So, like, one point of the movie is that he creates the brain by putting his intellect in it, but he can still, like, invent and shit afterwards. So, like, how... Like, is he giving it a portion of his intellect, or can he just copy it into it?
Yeah, I think it's...
Same with... Same with, like, splitting his soul up into 9 pieces.
Yeah, I definitely think it's like a piece of it is what we're to assume, because if you remember, after he creates the ninth doll, he kind of dies. So, and I think it doesn't necessarily detract from him. I think it just steals like essence of his life, I guess is a good way of putting it. Because he doesn't necessarily lose his personalities or anything like that, but there is definitely the portion where, you know, he just gets weaker and weaker as time goes on. So I think it's safe to assume that when he gave the intellect to the big robot, it was just like a portion of his soul, didn't necessarily take away from his intellect or anything like that, but, you know.
Well, no, like, the way they explain it is that, like, his intellect and his soul are, like, 2 different things. Like, the robot doesn't have any soul in it, it just has intellect.
I don't know, because they definitely still use the same device, regardless, so I don't know how that would work.
What?
I don't think they do. Well, like when we see him doing it with the robot, he has the 4 things on his head. Whereas when he's doing it with the rag people, it's the face mask thing.
I'll have you know, they're called Stitch Punks.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
By the way, that thing
I'm
about the
gonna call him
fucking
what I
robot, why did it have the fucking, like, little area to, like, plug in the fucking talisman or whatever the fuck? Was it, like, always intended that, like, this thing could someday be destroyed by these little fucking things?
You know? I don't know.
What was the reason for it sucking him up in the first place? I totally forgot about that. Like, why was it doing that?
It seems to use souls as a power
That
source.
and it was like, I don't know. They said it was a passing line. It was like, or I guess it would be considered a throwaway line. It said something about how it lacked human soul, and for that reason it was XYZ, and I don't remember the exact context, but it was something along those lines.
Yeah. You could also look at it as like the guy's intellect seeking out the pieces of his soul. Like maybe if it got all of them, then the robot would like fucking be him.
Maybe.
But in the robot body or some shit.
But
why is a piece of the scientist's soul a girl?
He had a little bit of tranny in him.
Yeah.
I think we all have feminine
That's
side.
a sensitive side.
Oh, okay. But she was like the least sensitive
That's
character.
true. I think there is a point where you get too objective when judging a movie. That's just my opinion, but what do I know? I also don't judge movies very objectively anyway, so that's the big issue.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
This movie is morbid as
I think
fuck,
they
though.
froze. They did.
Did they?
That's unfortunate.
Oh, that's a big
I'm not.
rip.
I took my phone off of the internet, so I don't have this issue.
That makes
Yeah, my
sense.
computer won't even let me get into the network settings, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
I might just unplug my wireless Wi-Fi thing, whatever.
Muy unfortunada.
Yeah, our internet's a real bitch sometimes. I just want to start my computer over, but that's just gonna fuck up Audacity, so
It will.
gonna have to deal with it for now.
We can't have
Nope.
that.
Yeah, I definitely don't recommend doing that.
Definitely not gonna do that. Guess we're just waiting on Jackson.
Yes. This is going to be a bitch and a half to edit.
It sure is. Oh. Has he returned?
Is he here? Oh my gosh.
Okay, cool.
There he is.
I'm just gonna speed through my notes really quick, just to get it over with. Overall, I thought this...
Just to get it over with, hang on here, Dillyn. You should be, like, interweaving them between the general conversation here.
Alright, fine. I'll interweave them where I can, as I feel like I don't get very many opportunities to speak. Anyway, continue.
Funny shit.
Give us one of them here real quick, Dillyn. Just throw one
Yeah,
out.
let's hear it.
I was gonna say, I definitely agree with the whole world-building thing. One thing I think they did really well early on was they established the environment and the tone and the ambiance of the movie, and they very quickly established the threat of the movie. And in some cases, that could be, like, rushed, which is, some people are like, oh, it was too rushed. But I think overall it ended up pacing itself out very well. Because I think the early introduction of the threat is what also allowed the plot to continue. I don't think there were convenient reasons for the plot to move on, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes movies are just like, oh, this happened because of course it has to. It was more like, no, this happened because, he got captured and so on and so forth, if that makes any sense.
I personally think the
kinda see
pacing
what
of
you're
this
saying.
film is like one of its weakest points. It kind of feels all over the place.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually don't have a problem with the pacing too much. I think my
Okay.
biggest complaint with the movie is just the main character and his motivations for getting all of these things done. And it all really just stems back to him being an absolute pussy bitch at the very start. And,
Yeah.
I mean, he was...
and like sacrificing that guy, and there's like a whole new world, I guess he's a little overwhelmed. And then he immediately like a flip switches in him the second he stops talking to that fucking old dude, and suddenly he's like some fucking Chad, and he knows exactly what to do, and he's got a plan, and he's gonna go and rescue this guy who is presumably even potentially dead from some big fucking monster that's been terrorizing them for quite some time. And suddenly, he's just like gets this shit done, and he's like super confident. I don't know where that all came from. And then he's like the one moving us all through the movie, and it all just seems really unnatural. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I think that was
definitely
one of my biggest
true.
complaints.
And that did actually remind me of one other point here. That may be my actual biggest point against this film is the voice acting. Just generally, they got some really stellar voice actors on the fucking cast for this film. They got Elijah Wood again, by the way. We're watching 2 Elijah Wood films this fucking week apparently. I just don't think any of them really do a great job. It kind of feels like all of them sort of just phone it in for the most part. Like they don't really care to be here. Like Elijah Wood has zero emotion behind his voice basically at all times.
I mean, it is like a more of a dystopian film, so I don't really know how much emotion there needs to be in it.
What?
I didn't notice what you're talking about at all, Nico.
Didn't notice that at all. I mean, as far as having 9 progress the story and everything, I think it was just more of like a leader role where he's like, okay, obviously this old guy is not going to do anything. We need to do something. Something needs to happen. So yeah, that's why he's trying to progress.
I'm just more saying that I think his character progression was just really accelerated. Like he became like an entirely new character very quickly and early on throughout the movie, and it just seemed really forced and weird. It's like, all right, we've got a cool concept. We kind of know what we want to do with it, but we don't know how to actually like progress the story. So we're just gonna have our main character, do it all.
Really
I
bad.
don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I like how quickly they forgive him after he awakens the big bad and makes their situation infinitely worse than it previously had been.
I mean, look, there's only so much you can really do in that situation. It's like, well, I guess we have to put a stop to this thing. He's trying to fucking murder us now.
I was gonna say, they
It's
really
like-
had no
He
choice.
didn't know any better. He didn't know anything about it at all.
Yeah.
Can't really blame the guy.
Why didn't Seven kill the Beast at any point when she was out on her own?
She probably wasn't around.
I guess she's doing her own thing. Maybe she didn't even know the beast existed.
Really. Well, I was just gonna. She made it look really fucking easy to
she
kill
probably
it,
just kept to herself.
and that
a lot.
was literally the last threat in the world for any of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just who really knows how long they've existed before then, though? Too like we have no general scope of how long the other ones were alive before he did.
79 years.
Where was that stated?
Has it been 79 years?
Yeah, it starts in 1930, and then it's set in the year that the movie came out in 2009.
Huh.
Is that when it's supposed to be set, really?
Weird. I did not catch that.
Why did it take so fucking long for 9 to wake up?
And why was the scientist's body not completely decomposed by that point
Yeah,
at all? It was still looking pretty fresh.
Huh.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
For one, we don't really get a good view of it, but from
Within
what
a
we do
year, there
see-
should be basically fucking bone.
I mean, they released that gas that killed all living things. Presumably, that killed microbes as well. So, they're the only thing that would, the only thing that would have been decomposing him is the elements.
I don't know.
So, I don't think it's entirely unrealistic for him to have not been literal dust.
Speaking of the robots and stuff, though, I think that the dystopian robot, design and everything, I thought that was all really well done. I thought the way that they were constructed and just the general look of them was really well done. Also just because you're cobbling a bunch of stuff together that, like Nico was talking about before, where it's like, oh, interesting, they used this. I think the fucking bird thing had a fan in its chest cavity or whatever that I think it used for flight. So just really interesting, nuanced little stuff like that. That was pretty cool about it all. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree that the monster designs were pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that was one of the strongest suits of the movie. It's just the monster designs are really
Even the big
cool.
robot
That was
dude.
honestly what was keeping me entertained with most of it.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of the designs, by the way, what did you guys think of the visuals of the film overall, though?
I thought it was very good.
They're okay for the time.
It's fucking depressing, dude. Jesus Christ. This movie is so
But yeah,
dark.
but I think that's the point. It's supposed to be shot in a dystopian world, and they're like, oh, we have to. Well, Nine's perspective is we have to do something about this, and nobody else wants to do anything about it. But I don't know. I thought overall it was very good. I don't know if.
I didn't think the visuals aged super well, personally. I mean,
thought-
the overall tone that they capture is really great, but,
I don't know.
I don't know, the actual, I don't know, the stitching
I don't think this is a very
particularly,
good-looking movie.
It didn't look very good. I don't know, it just didn't age the best.
Literally, one of my first notes.
What do you have a specific example?
Yeah, their stitching of the actual character designs. Also the monster designs, like they look super fucking low poly. Like it looks like it's a PS2 game for the most part. Which one of the biggest things I was thinking the whole time I was watching this was like, man, this would make a great game. I wish you could just be playing this right now instead.
Literally, one of the first two notes.
Yeah, I think you're completely wrong on that.
Why do you think I'm wrong on that, Tanner?
I think it looks fine.
I just don't think it does, man.
I can only think of like one or two things where I was like, "Oh, that looks bad."
Yeah, my first note here is the graphics aren't bad for a 2009 movie. See, the thing is, when I base...
The humans looked awful.
When I judge...
They did look really bad.
When I judge graphics, I also go back to the era in which the movie was created, which is why a lot of the time I'll ask when it was created. I think for 2009, this movie's not bad. I did, however, have another note in here along that line of the introduction of the characters is very video game-like. So, I guess in that aspect, me and Nico share a viewpoint, but I didn't necessarily view that as a bad thing. I kind of took that as a be that as it may kind of thing. But
the Führer looked pretty rough. I don't think the scientists looked bad.
I think most of the people in general looked really rough.
The thing though too is that when you got a movie that doesn't necessarily focus on human involvement, I don't think you're gonna put too much effort into making them look good.
I'm like, I don't know, like just look at the fucking like that first beast there that I just posted in the chat there. That looks like it came out in like fucking Toy Story 1, you know, which is like
it does.
It 100% does.
Put up a screenshot of Toy Story 1. Pull up like the baby head robot from Toy Story 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
With who? Okay.
I don't even need to see a side by side. I see it in my head. This looks significantly better.
I definitely don't think so. It looks just about the same. They're like on par.
No, you're literally
this
fucking
is just unfair because you're a graphic designer.
No, that's not even it. He's just wrong.
That too, but...
Look, do you know what other films came out in 2009, dude?
No.
What else came out in 2009?
We had shit like Up that came out in 2009, okay? Some that looks considerably better. Coraline came out in 2009. We had like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
okay, hold
which
on
also
a second.
looks
Hold on a
significantly
second.
better.
Coraline, you can't count. Coraline was a fucking claymation.
It still looks so much better.
It's a claymation. It's not even the same
it's
vein.
It's not animated.
And what about G-Force, guys? What about G-Force?
I don't know, man.
No, what about G-Force? It sounds like you're kind of just saying you don't like the art style. But anyway, yeah, there it is, Nico. Look how much better that looks.
Yeah, look at fucking Woody and Buzz there, dude. They look on par, honestly.
No, you're out of your fucking mind.
Like fucking Sid's character model there looks just about as good as like the humans did in this film.
No.
I think that goes along the same vein.
I agree. The Führer looked pretty bad. The Doctor looked a lot better.
I think his fingers looked pretty good. The Doctor's fingers, they looked fine.
Okay.
I think they got those down.
Like, look at this. That's on par, right, guys? Fucking retard.
It 100% is on par, dude.
You're
definitely not.
No.
Jackson, weigh in here.
I definitely think Toy Story 1 looks decent chunk worse than this. And I think it's mostly just with the depth of the model. Like, everything's pretty flat in Toy Story. I think the models look a lot, more fleshed out within this movie is the biggest thing.
And the monsters in 9 are so much more intricate, too.
Yeah, definitely.
But they just look like shit, dude. They just look like shit.
They really don't.
I
don't know what else to say here.
Like, I don't know. Like, try and explain it to me, Nico. I'm just not seeing what you're seeing.
Dude, like, the fucking head of that thing and the head of the baby, those look like they're the fucking exact same.
I don't agree at all.
I don't agree either.
Alright, in terms of rankings, though, guys, do we have any final thoughts on this film?
Not necessarily.
I thought the ending was a little funky.
Yeah, the ending is weird. So, like, the implication of the ending seems to be that by having those chunks of the soul, like, pass on into the sky, it then brought life back to the Earth.
That's what I thought the implication. I had a note that said, so the souls caused rain? So I wasn't quite... I figured it was...
Rain with, like, microbes.
I think it was, like, symbolism. Yeah. I'm hoping it's symbolism, because otherwise it wouldn't really make that much sense.
I don't think it was symbolism. It seemed very literal.
Yes, I know, but I'm really hoping it was symbolism, because it wouldn't really make too much sense otherwise. Alright, well, who's ranking it
everyone's
first?
Final thoughts? Alright, let's get to go into the ranks here. Dylan, you go first.
I thought this movie was pretty solid. I'm gonna give it an A+.
A+. So I don't have fucking... Wait, do I not have 9 in my code here?
Oh, man.
I'm trying to find it. Do I not have 9? No way.
Oh, no.
How dare you?
Oh, I do. Okay, I found it.
Attaboy. Alright, Jackson, for this transgression of not being able to locate 9, you're up next. What do you think of it?
Oh no, me up next. I thought it was a B-
There we
film.
go. I can live with that.
I thought it was pretty entertaining throughout most of it, to be honest. I don't think the actual animation stuff held up super well. I mean, for the time, I think it looked all right. And I'm not a huge fan of the plot and a lot of the character stuff, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought the monster designs were really cool. I liked the idea of the world building, all that stuff. So I think that elevates it over a decent amount. So yeah, B+ for me, or B- for me.
Nice.
I'm gonna give it a solid B.
Still gonna have the highest rating out of everybody, huh?
Nico could give it an S tier
That's
here.
what you think, Dylan.
Let's
I
hear
think
your
this,
fucking D tier.
I think this is a C+ film overall, I'd say.
C+,
Okay.
and that puts us at a B.
That's above average. I can live with that.
Okay.
I don't know. I really enjoy this movie. I remember watching it when I was a kid. I watched it again, obviously, here recently. Thought it was still pretty good.
I
Yeah, I'm
thought
glad
it
we watched
was
this
scary as
again.
a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've wanted to watch this for a while now. I remember watching this movie as a kid and thinking it was pretty scary as well.
Which part was it that scared you again? Was it the snake doll one?
Yeah, it was the fucking snake doll thing.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think that scared me as a child as well.
Snake Doll's pretty
It
scary.
was.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting design, though.
Anyway, on to our third movie, Holes.
Holes.
Disney's Holes.
Oh my gosh.
Starring Shia LaBeouf, a young Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Sigourney Weaver,
Yeah.
and some other people.
Yeah, definitely other people.
Oh, a young Gus from Psych.
Yeah.
I can't say I know who that is.
And Montgomery.
Take.
Really? Dylan seems like a guy who'd be a big fan of Psych.
I feel like I've heard of it for sure. I just don't think I've ever watched it. So that's the big issue here.
I agree.
To be honest, I don't remember a ton from this movie. I kind of remember the general overarching plot.
When did you see
Oh
it?
God, I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure I've only ever watched this movie once in my life, and I was probably...
He's talking about most recently. When did we watch it this week?
Oh, when did we watch it? I don't fucking remember.
It was like Wednesday.
Yeah, that.
I'm just making sure that you know, you not remembering is due to your own incompetence.
No,
and
no.
not
When I said that, I
negligence.
was referring to, like when the last time I watched it, like, before this time, is what I was referring to.
Okay.
I got plenty of
Gotcha.
notes, don't you worry. I got more notes on Holes than any of the other movies.
Dylan needs to study Holes.
Definitely not, but, yeah, what are our general thoughts on this movie, guys?
This movie's a little silly.
It is a little silly.
It's
if
definitely
you
very
ask me.
silly. The entire time we were
Very
watching
silly.
it, Jackson kept asking if it's a comedy or not.
Yeah, I was told prefaced initially that it was a drama or something, and like immediately watching this movie, like this is a fucking comedy, and Nico kept lying to me, the son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
It's an action adventure film.
It's not. It actually is.
It's-
See, and that's the
yeah,
thing
That's
is...
what IMDb says.
Okay,
or whatever.
here's my
Yeah,
issue.
IMDb does say that.
I think you can say adventure film, sure. I don't think it's an action adventure.
Did you see them
Yeah,
guns
definitely.
going off? Dude, he shot a yellow spotted lizard.
He did that.
Tanner,
like,
can I run
Yeah.
something by you really
That
quick?
thing also scared me as a kid, by the way.
I got a question. Do you think not knowing what kind of movie you're watching affects how you're going to judge and critique it? So therefore, if you're being lied to
Yes.
about it, you're going to judge it more poorly than it actually should be?
100%. If you go in expecting something else and get something else, you're like you might not be able to overcome your preconceived
There we go.
notions.
Nico's a rat bastard confirmed. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, in terms
That's
of...
on you for having any preconceived notions, dude. You should go into each movie blind.
I'd much rather judge a movie for what it
Impossible.
actually is. Anyway, yeah, the CGI in this movie's kind of silly. The slow motion might have just been the technology they had back then. The slow motion was god-awful. I did not like the slow motion whenever it happened. They had one...
That wasn't just the technology they had at the time. That was a stylistic choice by them.
Yeah, that was really...
I like how they got real lizards and then just painted them. That was
Yeah.
funny.
I know at one point, in terms of stop slowing down time and shit, there was like when they were talking about the bandit lady, and then they sped up that background footage for whatever dumbass reason. That was also really bad and uncalled for. So cinematography in general for this movie was not great. It did not rate very high on my scale. And the acting was kind of just okay. I don't know if anybody had any other opinions on the acting. Shia LaBeouf has never been the greatest actor, and that is no excuse for him being younger in movies. But I don't know. After a bit, I remembered, why this movie was more enjoyable and how eventually when everything loops around, the movie ends up making more sense towards the end, which I don't know if that's a bad cinematic call or not, but I think, I was definitely rating this movie lower watching it, and then at the end everything started making more sense and oh, this is why they did this, oh, this is why this is that way, and then it ended up overall bringing my rank up a decent amount, so I don't know if that's good or bad or not, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, a lot of the flashback stuff doesn't make any sense in the context of the present day story until the end when they say, and that's how that thing met this person.
Yeah,
pretty much. Nothing means anything until you get the answer to it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I
you don't the whole point of it, the whole fucking holes thing. You literally don't have any clues on this being a thing at all until they literally tell you about it. I can't think of anything how you'd be able to draw that conclusion yourself. So it all just seems kind of pointless having it laid out this way.
Yeah. I like how they were considering sending him to prison for stealing some shoes.
Well,
some shoes, dude. Those are Ricky Gervais's shoes.
Yeah, I was about to say. Then the context
That's
of
the guy's name.
Something about the dudes these shoes are from a famous person. That context came in later. So initially it's really confusing. It was oh, they wanted him to send him to jail for stealing shoes, and then it's revealed later, oh, this is some famous guy's shoes, by the way. But
it wasn't that much later.
Even
it was
then, he's 13.
Well, and then he tried to justify stealing the shoes because his father is trying to solve how to get rid of bad feet smelling shoes or something. So that was his justification for stealing the shoes. But all he knows is that some shoes flew out of the air, hit him in the head, and he could have just done nothing with it. But it's whatever.
They were nice shoes.
They were alright shoes. Man.
Let me see if you guys are on board with me in this next statement. Honestly, a 5x5 foot hole a day doesn't seem all that bad.
See, that's what I was saying.
But you're also in the hot, scorching sun
dude.
with barely any water.
It just doesn't seem like it'd take all that long.
It really doesn't. I feel like if I was given an hour, I'd probably be able to dig that, to be completely honest. And I don't find...
An hour?
Yeah, an hour.
I'd say an hour and a half.
You guys are smoking fucking crack right now.
Yeah, I feel like it would take quite a bit longer as well. However, it's not like they can just have these kids out there fucking digging holes in the hot desert all day long,
Yeah.
Except for when they do
See,
that.
and that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's some implications that they're literally out there all fucking
How
day.
the hell is this facility
it's not
even running?
a well-regulated fucking campus.
Yeah, that...
How do they verify that somebody go over there and check every hole or something too? Also, how can you just claim some random hole? They drop you off there, they leave, and then you can just be okay, yeah, I dug this hole at some random other area.
Oh.
That's a fair point. They should.
By the way,
that.
in that
I think that the problem there is that the other fucking campers rat you out if you try and do that because well, if I'm fucking digging a hole, you better be digging a hole, Buster.
Hold on a second though.
They should all just lie together.
But here's the other part. Here.
Eventually, they're gonna catch on pretty quickly if there are any more holes being dug.
Here's the other part too, though. When it was the first morning, and they all grabbed their shovels, and the main boy accidentally grabs the one kid's shovel, and he's like, "Oh,
X-ray."
Yeah, that guy. He's like, "Why is it his shovel?" And he's like, "Oh, because his shovel is shorter than all the other ones." And that's in reference to the guy saying you have to dig a 5x5 hole, so the shovel should stand up and then go across. If the shovel's shorter and it has to be 5x5, why does it matter if the shovel's shorter?
What do you mean? Why does it matter if the shovel's shorter?
The guy said that the hole in depth and in width should be the size of your shovel, but if he also gave a specific measurement, why does it matter if the shovel's shorter?
Well, they believe that all of the shovels are 5 feet.
Yeah.
Alright, well.
X-Ray took a shorter shovel so that he could show, see, I did it, but he actually did hypothetically.
But then that goes back to, why aren't they checking the holes then? Also, this place is
that would be time consuming.
This place is also extraordinarily out of regulations. You can't expect me to believe that nobody's come out here to this camp to check it out and see that they're obviously using child labor, which is not legal, to dig holes, presumably to find a treasure of this lady's grandfather.
Well, they're not fucking advertising it that way.
I know they're not advertising it that way, but also, you can't tell me that this camp has existed for this long and nobody is, like, checked before the end of the movie when they're like, we're gonna have this place under investigation. Like, clearly, this place is
I mean, there wasn't anything that fishy going on prior to that.
I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna send a kid somewhere as, like, a correctional institution, you should at least know more than where it is and what it does. That's just...
What other information would you need to know other than where it is? And
I don't know,
what it
maybe
does?
making sure child cruelty isn't involved. And, fucking rattlesnakes and apparently...
I mean, there isn't really any child cruelty involved from what we've seen. They're not fucking whipping the kids.
I don't know, man. I don't think the standards held at this camp are that great. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I've done the math.
Uh-huh.
To dig that size hole, it'll take you about 15,000 shovelfuls.
Okay, I thought you were about to
So
say
let's
15
say-
minutes. I was going to say, Tanner, that's fucking cap. What do you mean?
No. 15,000 shovelfuls. How many shovels, or how quickly do you think you can, like, dig and throw? That's like, what, a second and a half?
Yeah, 1 to 2 seconds, I would say.
Second and a half. I'm saying like 5 seconds probably.
Yeah, I was thinking like 3 or so.
Oh my gosh.
Like, consistently doing that, Tanner. Like, not just like one, but like, you have to like keep doing it, dude.
Yeah, that shit would get tiring very
just,
quickly.
like,
That's some intense cardio.
Yeah.
It still shouldn't
I
take
get
you all
fucking tired
day.
just like
I'd say
raking and
2
brooming and
seconds.
shit pretty quickly. Fucking digging a hole in the hot sun would
It still
kill me.
shouldn't take
Yeah.
you all day, though. Like, it shouldn't take you more than 4
I'm not
hours.
saying all day. I
Let's
said like
go
3
with-
hours
we're gonna-
minimum.
We're gonna go with Nico and say 3 seconds, so that's 5,000 seconds. Divide by 60, that's 83 minutes, so about an hour and a half.
That's assuming no breaks this entire period. You're just 100% for an hour and a half just doing this. There's no way you could do that for
Can
an
you
hour and a half
not-
straight.
Whoa, what? Huh? You don't think you could? Huh?
Oh, man.
You think you can fucking shovel in the hot sun for an hour and a half straight without breaks?
An hour and a half is not very long. Yes,
Look,
I could
Jackson,
easily
he's
do
the same
that.
man who believes that he could take an infinite amount of children in a fight, okay? So,
Yeah,
like,
Tim, you're fucking smoking piss right, and you're fucking boiling piss
Actually
right now.
could. I just need to pile them up high enough that I can nap on top of them while the bottom ones struggle to get up to me.
You'd fucking take a break after the first 5 minutes of doing that shit, guaranteed.
No.
You're crazy.
Anyway,
Shoveling for an hour and a half is a very realistic goal, I think.
That's fucking crazy.
I feel like it'd be closer to 2 hours.
in addition to this whole thing about being a correctional facility, why is this main kid lying in a letter to his mom?
He doesn't want her to worry.
Yeah, exactly.
I assume my assumption was that they like read his notes, and so he wanted to make sure notes were actually getting sent to his parents.
I mean, my other thing here, though, too, is, like, for this being a correctional facility, like, to fix their characteristics or their attitudes or whatever, a lot of these kids are real assholes still. They really just don't care. They're all jerks to each other. Like, the correctional facility really
be
isn't doing
fair,
anything.
Well, yeah, because it's not really a correctional
Yeah.
I don't
facility.
know.
They just want child labor to find the treasure.
I don't know. I guess that's fair. I guess I'm viewing it too literally.
Tanner, are you more of an armpit or an x-ray kind of guy?
I'm more of an X-ray kind of guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see. What do I have? I thought the sets and the costumes were like surprisingly well done.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like all the old
Yeah,
West
the
stuff
old-timey
looked like
stuff.
the old West. Yeah,
I thought that
yeah.
was all pretty well done.
Let's see. Right after that note, I have. Bro, what? There's a fucking lynching in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Except it never
It's
actually
much more
happens.
graphic in the book as well.
Jesus.
I mean, hey,
Christ. What the?
At least they shoot him in the middle of the lake. That's probably better than what they could have shown. Just saying.
That's so fucked up. This is a Disney movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a bit woke for me to be.
In addition to that, when they're like when the two kids are like stranded out in the middle of the desert, and this will become relevant in a second because it's assuming that they found the supply of peaches from like when that guy took the jars and was in the boat. We're just gonna assume that these kids ate peaches out of a preserved jar, and those peaches aren't going to kill them, despite being probably hundreds of years old. Is that to be correctly understood by me?
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, it made Zero
Jarred,
sick later, so
preserved.
like.
It did make him sick.
Yeah.
I thought that was like fucking
Yeah, he started throwing up and shit.
tetanus. Well, why didn't the other kid get sick then?
He's just got that dog in
He
him.
also didn't like eat as much, presumably, it looked like.
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like Zero had been eating those peaches for like all the days he had been missing.
I figured that he got sick because of whatever the fuck the shovel did. Like, he got cut by the shovel on his hand, so it was like some like tetanus or some shit. I figured that's what that was.
And that caused him to
I don't know.
throw
I don't
up?
remember what tetanus does. It was just my assumption.
Okay. How'd you guys feel about like the more mystical elements of this movie?
Pretty goofy.
I literally read one of my notes and I was like, what was the purpose of inventing a lizard for this movie?
That has nothing to do with what I just said.
What mystical were you talking about? Because when I equate mystical to inventing a lizard.
Well, how about like there being an actual family curse and him having to carry the kid up to the thing and they drink and he sings a little song.
I thought it was pretty neat.
And then the rain.
That was the full circle bullshit that I was talking about that made everything make more sense. I thought it was a good way to round it all off, I guess.
I was fine
I don't know, I found it
The
kinda
circumstances
weird,
were a little
personally.
too convenient, if you ask me. Like, it happened to be this kid's great-great-grandson. And, you know, obviously, of course, it had to be the one kid who's cursed. And then it happened to be the same mountain somehow. And then he happened...
It wasn't the same mountain, though. The old mountain was in, like, fucking
Was
Italy.
it? Oh, shit, you're right. Well, then why did it... Weird.
I don't know why. That's something I wondered. Why did
Weird.
that work?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's like close enough, you know.
Yeah, the curse she cast was like, it can be any
And it also
mountain.
she also said it had to be her. It didn't say it had to be her descendants. So there's also that.
You know, curse logic,
Curse
right?
logic, man. Those damn witches. Or I guess it'd probably be a... fuck, can't remember the name of it now. I had the word, now it's gone. Never mind.
What are you looking for? Warlock?
No.
A vibrant voodoo goddess.
No, it was a different word for witch, but I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
Sorceress.
Witch doctor.
Maybe something along those lines. I don't remember.
Fortune teller? Like I said
No.
earlier?
It's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's not important.
A gypsy.
Okay. There you go.
She was a gypsy.
Oh, my like final thing here is like crazy that this movie revolves around a curse. Like, overall, this movie is basically about unraveling and solving the curse and freeing everybody from it. And the only reason this kid's here is because of a curse, and he's here to solve the curse, and everybody else involved is technically involved with the curse. It's just, you know, crazy.
Yeah, this movie's pretty satanic.
Sure.
True.
I think. Probably.
But they prayed to Jesus Christ during the film, Tanner.
Checkmate.
I don't even remember
also
It
that.
happens like 4 separate times.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I missed that every
I don't
single
remember
time.
any of them, I guess.
Well,
Yeah, they specifically state that fucking Stanley, he's a Catholic.
oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Every time they weren't digging holes, I'm just like, dude, when are they gonna get back to the good part?
I gotta get back to them holes. Yeah, one thing about this movie, it's definitely like, it feels long.
It does.
Yeah, it felt very fucking long.
It was kind of arduous.
Yeah, I remember at one point we checked the time of the movie and we're only like halfway and I was like, damn. I definitely
Feels
thought
like-
that we were like maybe 3/4 at this point. This is going on a bit too
Yeah,
long.
the
for my
pacing wasn't
liking.
great, but they had to flesh it out for some reason. Also, how did that one guy not die from rattlesnake venom straight to the face? I definitely feel like that would have killed him.
I assume they gave him anti-venom.
Maybe. I also noticed...
What I find weird is, like, they dig up that tube of lipstick, but lipstick wasn't invented until, like, 100 years after the Wild West.
Well, obviously,
Was it? Did you look up when lipstick is invented?
I assume it wasn't invented till later. At least not, like, in the cylinder thing. Maybe they had some fucking, like, paste that they would
If
rub
the
on their
one
lips.
warden lady made her own, like, nail polish and shit, I can assume that her great-great-great-grandmother or whatever the fuck probably made her own lipstick and shit or whatever.
That is not a
I know it's
reasonable
not, but
assumption
it's a
at all.
stretch, but it's the only thing that makes sense in that case.
1915 was when the metal tube lipstick was invented.
There you go, 100 years later.
Yeah.
Close enough. She made her own lipstick.
Lipstick originally was invented in 1884, though, which, like, that's way later than I was expecting.
Yeah, still too late for this movie.
Yeah.
Wait, 84? Probably too late.
Maybe.
I guess, let's see. Maybe not. That would have been, like, post-Civil War.
Yeah.
So, I suppose... I mean, it was in the Mel thing, so whatever. I'm taking the W.
Okay.
I'm taking the George W. Bush.
All right. Well, does anybody have any last thoughts on this movie?
I can't say I do.
I think this movie's sweet. I think it has a lot of character.
I thought it was pretty silly and pretty entertaining throughout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
A solid Disney film.
Yeah. I like it when Armpit does that little dance and he lifts up his arms and everyone's like, ew, Armpit. That's why you got your name.
Armpit.
Oh, wait, speaking of Disney, was this even included on your guys' list, or were you guys only...
No, we only watch animated
I was about to
films.
say... Alright.
Except for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because it's also animated.
I was going to say that technically has enough animation. But anyway,
Based on what criteria?
there's a lot of
then?
animated characters in it.
There are.
They end up in the
Okay.
Toon World at one point.
We didn't watch Mary Poppins, though. It doesn't have enough animation in that one.
Damn.
Hmm.
Alright, who's ranking first here?
I'll go ahead and go first. I think The Holes is pretty neat. I really enjoy how everything sort of wraps up in the very end. I think it's really satisfying. I'll give this film a B.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm gonna give this film an A minus.
Okay. While Jackson's typing in both those letters, yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good overall. I obviously had my issues with it, so I think I'm gonna land it at a solid B+.
Dillyn, I'm glad you said that because I also rated it a B+.
Oh my gosh, we're so concise and kind of all together on this rating.
This was a very close rankings.
Yeah.
Who would have known that me being a...
This might be the most the most in sync we've been on.
Who would have
movie.
thought that me being more objective and judging these movies would have resulted in this kind of outcome?
Guys, we just got our
Crazy.
7th B+ movie.
Holy
We have now-
shit.
Who could have guessed?
Double the next highest tiers movies in B
Who
tier.
would have guessed?
Or B+ tier. We have a bunch of other tiers that have 3, and now this one is 7.
Let's go. All right, well,
good.
who's picking the movies for this week?
It's you and Jackson.
Whoa!
Me? Again?
Yeah.
Become my beating heart.
Let's go.
Is it finally Scooby-Doo time?
Is it Scooby-Doo?
No!
Damn it!
It's never gonna be Scooby-Doo time. It's never gonna be Scooby-Doo.
Damn it, Jackson.
I want to watch both of them back to back, man, but that's just not possible. So it's pretty low on my priority
Why
list
do you
right
want to
now
watch them
until I
back
get
to
that
back? What is the
opportunity for
purpose
some
of that?
reason. Because, man, if we're watching Scooby-Doo, I want to watch some Scooby-Doo.
Jackson, what if you choose Scooby-Doo and I choose Scooby-Doo 2?
That'd be fucking hot, dude. That'd be the sickest shit ever.
Okay, so what's your movie then?
I don't know if I want to gamble on you doing that for
Just
me.
pick your fucking movie, man.
You can say that, man. You might just be talk though. I'm gonna play it safe and go with my my last
God
week's
damn it.
movie recommendation, that being The Thing, the original, The Thing,
John, not the original.
Not the original?
The first remake.
the good one. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know anything about The Thing.
John Carpenter's The
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah, the good one.
Alright. And this week, I'm going to be going with The Cave. Hopefully in English. I don't know if this movie's in English.
The Cave.
The
That's
Cave.
another fucking horror movie.
It sure
What are
is.
you guys
I've
doing
never
out
even
here?
Except
heard
it's
of that.
legitimately horror.
It's what we do. We pick horror
I
movies.
can't even look up the movie because I have no internet.
Yeah, I've never heard.
I think
of
it's
The
like
Cave. Hold on a second.
a Welsh movie or some kind of...
Oh, Welsh.
How did you hear of it?
I've
then?
watched it. I'm pretty sure it was in English when I watched it. It's got
Which one, by the way, is it, Dillyn?
it's The Cave, the one with monsters.
Yeah, but there are a lot of movies called The Cave.
It's got, I don't know, it's just a bunch of cave explorers who go into a cave because they're exploring it, and the next thing they know, there's a bunch of monsters in it, and they gotta escape with their
Do
life.
you think it's The Cave? Is it set in Romania?
It might be. Hold on, let me see if I can.
The first result I'm seeing is a 2005 American horror
Yes,
film.
it's 2005. It is made by Bruce Hunt, or directed by Bruce Hunt.
Okay. So the
2005, The Cave.
Here we go.
Ooh, it's got Daniel Day Kim in it.
Whoa!
And one of the characters shares my last name.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh.
I hope he
PT?
lives. No,
But you're Mr. PT.
it's just T. The P is silent.
I thought it was...
Anyway.
Alright, well, there we go. A couple more fucking horror movies to really pad out our tier list here.
Listen, man.
We're really consistent with our
There are
horror
some
movie
movies that I
picks.
need to go back and rewatch. It's the only reason I'm picking some of these.
Don't worry, I think I know what I'm gonna pick next week, and it's not gonna be
Let's
a horror
go.
movie.
I know
Just
what I'm
confirming,
gonna
are we
pick.
watching 1982 or 2011 Thing?
82.
82, okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. I also know what I'm going to pick next week. I'm going to take a break from picking them randomly for a bit and like just try and churn out the ones I really want to see. The next one I'm going to be picking is going to be much more lighthearted to hopefully distance ourselves a bit from the current trend we've been going down, you know?
We'll see.
Why do you have such a problem with the trend, though?
I don't. It's just like, you know, I want to break it up a little bit here.
Expectations, man.
I mean, we broke it up this week.
I want to have a nice little palate cleanser every now and then.
All right.
And I broke it up this week. We had fucking holes, which was the only non-sort of spooky one in here. And even then, it still had them yellow spotted lizards, dude.
Ooh.
Them dango lizards.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Is that the episode, you think?
I hope
Yeah,
so.
probably. I'd assume so. Fucking... Yeah, it's definitely the
Yeah,
episode.
it probably should be, yeah.
Well, everybody, I sure
thank you
hope
everyone for...
You guys should do the outro at the same time. That'd be crazy.
You can do it. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, sure. You want... No, we're not going to do that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and a special thank you to our patron, Jacob Edwards, a.k.a. Mistake. If you want your name mentioned at the end of the episode, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Guapish, and for just $1 a month, you will get your name read during the podcast. You will get early access to the pre- and post-show that we do. You will get early access to the podcast. You will be able to submit your own recommendations for movies and even topics for us to care about. I mean, you know, we'll pretend to care. But and then you also get 500 slime coin, and yeah, you get in the Discord and you can talk to us if you want.
Pretty solid.
Only if you really want to, though. Bye.
Bye.